You cannot be serious.
Well, I can be serious. Here's the route north from Wimbledon Station to Wimbledon Park. And there'll be no tennis references at all.
What? You are serious?
Alright, there is this. We're starting at Wimbledon Station, which was rebuilt in Portland stone during the 1920s, and there's an artwork by Bruce Williams on the roof to the right here, a photographic image of crowds at Wimbledon Lawn Tennis Championships. I'm tempted to say underground overground here in the womble style, but the truth is Wimbledon doesn't have an overground, it's on tramlink. Bit dull really, doesn't rhyme. And I said I wouldn't mention the wombles anyway. But referring back to the station back there, I will mention furry animals. One notable dog was Laddie. He was an Airedale Terrier born in 1948, and the next year he started to collect money at Wimbledon Station on behalf of the Woking Railway Orphanage. He retired after 7 years of service and raised £5,000. He passed away, and then someone stuffed him and sent him to the National Railway Museum at York, where you can still see him. Wimbledon Hill Road here connects Wimbledon Station to Wimbledon Village. The area has been inhabited since at least the Iron Age, and in 1086 it was in the Domesday Book, when Wimbledon was part of the Manor of Mortlake. So Wimbledon's manor changed hands many times amongst a load of rich people during the history of the place, and until the first decades of the 19th century it was all pretty quiet around here. But in 1838 that old London story, a railway station opened. This brought a station to the southeast of the village, and it was on a greenfield site at the bottom of Wimbledon Hill. And once the station was there, the focus of the growth of Wimbledon focused on the station and not on the village. So this is your typical railway suburb, and was largely built between 1870 and 1920. Lots of shops have ended up here. And that small single-decker bus is climbing up to the old Wimbledon village at the top of the hill. And this road just coming up here is called Woodside, and we're going to turn right into it. This dates from the 1890s, this road. And it happened as development was coming down the hill from the village, and it met development coming up the hill from the station. By the way, if you're thinking of moving to this area, we're going to be walking through a piece of classic suburbia soon. You can experience this walk without me jabbering on, and every single step of this walk by clicking the video in the QR code, which I'll just supply here. So at the time of filming we were getting towards sunset on a lovely late March evening. Hence we're going to see some amazing blossom-filled trees. So we're going to turn up the street that says Humps for 530 yards. And this is the entrance to Queen Alexandra Court, those buildings on the left. The gateway here was built in 1905 for the Queen Alexandra's Court. You can always tell road names and building names by royalty. Queen Alexandra was the wife of Edward VII. Anyway, this gateway was built in 1905 by the Royal Military Homes, and the court was built for the widows and daughters of naval and military officers. It's all behind this tall wall on the left, so you can't see much of it, but it creates a sense of seclusion. There are 4 blocks in there of 4-storey apartments, or as I call them, flats. So Lake Road here is a typical leafy Victorian suburban road dating from 1872, and it climbs a hill. Lovely grand wide roads hereabouts. It's sort of an extreme version of suburbia, quite a bit posh. You'll notice it's adorned with a splendid row of trees, and the architecture is quite varied. Lots of these developments are set back from the road. I used to live in a house in Broughty Ferry in Dundee, very similar to that, although it's made in stone and not brick. So a lot of the Victorian houses were demolished, and a lot of infilling went on. And this is one of those. New Roads, Pine Grove, with some atypical suburban housing for the area. I assume it's quite new actually, because they look to be builders boards there. So we've crossed the road now. So if you're rich enough to move to this road, it's really good for schools. There's a couple of schools. There's a couple of schools later on top of the hill on the left. And this is another one of those old houses been demolished. You can see its gateposts there. And Helm Close went up in its place. So on the left here, this is the first of one of those schools I was mentioning. Though this is a primary school. As I said, you can do the full walk on another video with just the sound of traffic and Tweety birds and stuff. But for every walk I do, there's also a background article on the Underground Map blog. This has a bit more detail of the history of all the streets that I walk through. Rickard's Road. So I haven't actually done any research into Rickard's Road. I don't know why the housing is completely different style. It's obviously a lot later. So we're climbing uphill quite a lot here. This was a bit unexpected since I'm going to have to do the same amount of climbing, well, the anti-climbing, going downhill the same amount because we've got to reach the same railway line that we left at Wimbledon back there. And railways tend to go along level ground. So for all this climbing, there's going to be a descending. So this is Leopold Road, which is quite busy as it's a major rat run and a through route. And now we're on Vineyard Hill Road. I can already spot by that post box that we're going to get some amazing views. I assume this is the brow of that hill. Yeah, and they're coming into view. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see these. But I think the view ahead is sort of the Chelsea and Fulham direction. And the London Eye. There's even one of those red flashy lights on top of the power station to scare aircraft away. You can see it flashing away. Or I can. You can't, maybe. Or perhaps you can. Let's smell the roses. Very nice. So now perhaps you can see it, or perhaps not, but I can see the post office tower. Sorry, the BT tower. I'm not used to its new name, even after all this time. I assume about 30 years of the new name or something. So we're well and truly descending the hill now. This road, by the way, bucks the 1872 trend of all the other roads of the area. This dates much further back as a thoroughfare, but not as a built road. This area dates all the way back to 1588, when Thomas Cecil, the Earl of Exeter, constructed a house here. So the house was surrounded by gardens, and it was a significant landmark of the time. But in the gardens was a vineyard, and this is still commemorated today by the name of Vineyard Hill Road, i.e. this road. And all these houses cover a lot of woodland that used to be here. There was Vineyard Hill Wood and Woodside, which was the name of the road way back there that we walked up. The Cecil estate was sold to John Augustus Beaumont, who had a great name, and he undertook its development into this, nice blossom now, into this affluent suburb. So Beaumont at first focused on developing the land surrounding the house, and this really kick-started the transformation of the area into this desirable residential neighbourhood, although you need to be quite fit to get up and down all these hills. Beaumont then moved on to the other roads of the area in 1872. Well, I hope you can see this stuff because sunset is rapidly approaching in its march, and the sun sets rather quickly compared with midsummer walks. So hopefully the light holds out. By the way, if you want to see more of this walking palaver, you can click subscribe. So it's time to experience the other side of Vineyard Hill Road. So we're coming down this hill quite quickly now, and this road at the bottom with some different housing is called Home Park Road. Another one of the 1872 roads built by Mr. Beaumont. I wonder why that sign's blue. Is that a London Borough of Merton thing or a Borough of Wimbledon thing? Who knows? Perhaps someone does. If you were worrying about the tennis, Wimbledon Park, quite near here, is the second largest park in the London Borough of Merton. And it lends its name to the station we're walking to. But to the immediate west of the park is the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club. But we don't pass it on this walk. You're going to have to wait for the next walk north, the one to Southfields. But for several years Wimbledon Park, the park, was leased to the Duke of Somerset, who briefly in the 1820s employed a young Joseph Paxton as one of his gardeners. And in 1840 the family sold off the park to create Arthur Road here. Two houses on this road are the oldest in Wimbledon Park, dating from about 1889. and that early housing date of 1889 is because of Wimbledon Park station here, opened by the District Railway on the 3rd of June of that year. Quick peek over the bridge. And anyway, we've arrived. Hope you enjoyed the walk. And I'm going to take this line north now. And we'll do the next bit of the walk on another day.
My name is John McEnroe, and I do not endorse this message, mainly because I was an AI-generated voice.